Hey, you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Beast! Peekaboo. I see you because... Ah! Oh, I caught it! I'm YouTube famous now. Peekaboo. Available 2016, the album, the drama opera, Dad, Shimmy, Shimmy, AF. Jeffree Star, Jaclyn Hill, Manny MUA, Nikki Tutorials, James Charles. Hi, sisters. That is a tired song. Rock on gold. Did y'all know that Stevie Nicks has a new song out? She does. And you know what? I'm a fake fan because so many people have sent it to me and I have not even listened to it yet. Oh my God, that should have been the video that I did today. Don't nobody care about Nikki Tutorials and Jeffree Star and all these people. Nobody cares. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about it. I don't care. Anyway, no, I think this is kind of interesting. Kind of. I have over there on my chair, I have a regular pack of Reese's cups, and then I have the Halloween pumpkin Reese's cups, because I saw over on the Facebook, one of my friends said, why do the pumpkins, the Reese's pumpkins, taste so much better than the Reese's cups? And like, there was like 64 comments underneath it. And people were like, oh, because they have so much more peanut butter and this. And I was like, well, we're just going to compare them. And I'm actually more excited to do that review. They're sitting over there. They're calling to me. I'm so excited to do that review. I'm more excited to do that review than I am in talking about this today. But enough people have sent this to me. So I thought, okay, well, we'll talk about it today. We'll talk about the drama opera. Now, it does kind of feel like 2016 a little bit, talking about Nikki Tutorials and Jeffree Star, Jaclyn Hill, Manny MUA. I just had to go in and look at all these people's things to see what's going on with them. Jaclyn Hill, I don't know, like, so many people wanted me to respond to, if you guys want me to make the video, I will make the video. She apparently had a bunch to say about, I've seen a little bit of it, but apparently she said some things that were in very poor taste about the hurricane and stuff like that. I don't know why we're surprised. This is not the first time she's done that. I don't know if you guys don't remember, but it was like a couple years ago when she was still living in Florida, she made some rather out of taste comments as well. So if you guys want me to respond to that, I absolutely have no problem, you know, dragging Jaclyn Hill through the mud. No, I mean, I'll respond to that if you guys, enough people have sent me that as well. So if you guys want me to make that video about Jaclyn Hill and what she had to say, hi, pretty as pretty does. Shade. We'll bring some shade. Shade. Well, I'll bring some shade range to Jaclyn Hill and talking about that. But I actually, she wonders why people don't watch her TikToks. And I went and looked at her TikTok and one came up and she said that. And I don't follow anybody on TikTok. I don't follow one person on TikTok. And I just like pulled up TikTok to go look at Jeffree Star's TikTok of his review. I actually watched the whole thing on Instagram, then I wanted to see if it was the same thing of Patrick Starr's, his like new foundation that he put out. So I wanted to see if he like posted it over on TikTok too. And when I did, here I'm going to turn my volume down. On my For You page, it pulled up. Hold on a second. Let me pull this out of here, see if it's, okay, hold on, let me get out of there. I can't, it's Jaclyn Hill pulled up. I didn't search her out or anything. Look, I mean, you can see, I didn't search her out or anything. I was searching out Jeffree Star. And it pulled up. And this is where she said she's sick. And she's pretty convinced they both have, you know, they both have the lockdown thing that you can't say on COVID. And then this is her laughing about it because her husband asks her if she has the pits, you know, because she stinks because of it or something like that. I don't know if... Jaclyn Hill, I just don't think really knows, like... I don't know if she missed that day of school where she was like not like taught like how to have appropriate conversations with people. These are things that are not funny when people have died of this, and you know she's making shady remarks about the hurricane, and people have died in the hurricane, and people have lost everything, and people have lost their homes, and entire roads and towns are out, and people are still without electricity, and people have lost literally everything, and she thinks that's something to joke about. And now she's making a joke about, you know, getting sick, and her and her husband think this is really funny, and people have literally lost their lives. People were in hospital rooms with iPads saying goodbye to their family for the last time. But this is something that Jaclyn Hill thinks is funny to joke about. And she wonders why Well, she said she was shadow banned on TikTok. I don't believe that she was shadow banned on TikTok whatsoever. I think that was her way of saying, come and watch my TikToks. I covered it about her being shadow banned. That was one of my couple last videos that I made, and I proved in there that all of her TikToks get the same amount of numbers, so she wasn't shadow banned at all. That was just, I'm pissed because I'm not getting as many views as I feel like I should. And I'm entitled to views on TikTok because I've worked hard for the last 10 years. I've worked really hard putting out one video every 2-3 months. That's an Amazon favorites of 30 products that I've never used before that are not linked appropriately. I work really hard filming a video every 3 to 5 months. And promising to come back and address things that I never... Girl, cry me a river, okay? Cry me a river, Jaclyn Hill. You missed that day in school about being appropriate. But anyway, y'all are going to get the real deal over here because I'm exhausted, okay? I'm as exhausted as my little dog looks over here because he is asleep. He is so asleep. He was pacing for about 3 hours today. He is my little poor dog, Boo Radley. Now, for those of you that don't know, go watch my vlog, but he is just really, really struggling. And it was, I think a week ago Monday, he had his first seizure. And then 2 days after that, he had 3 seizures in one night. Was it 3 seizures? Yeah, 3 seizures in one night. He had cluster seizures. And we've been working so closely with the vet, and she's, you know, anyway. But yesterday, we have now made it 1 week seizure free, and I'm so, so excited. And, so things are good around here, but last night was a little rough. But he's been sleeping today. I'm exhausted because I'm not sleeping a whole lot because I'm very worried about little Boo Radley, even though he's doing better. I've been very, very worried about him. So I'm tired. I'm tired today. I'm tired. Listen, people will be like, you're flipping that. He is not waking up. I tried to take him out earlier, and he was like, he didn't want to get out of his bed. He was like, let me sleep, Dad. I paced for 3 hours around the room. So anyway, okay. So today we're going to talk about a bunch of people. How many times have I put this on here now? Oh my God, can I show you what somebody sent me the other day? Oh shoot, I don't remember who. The name will come to me. Can I just show you? I talk about this all the time because these are the things that I used to have when I was a little kid, and I would walk around the neighborhood with my 2 friends, Jesse and Katie. And we would walk around the neighborhood, and I had the matching terry cloth like tank top. It was like, well, I had them in multiple different colors, you know? But it was like orange, and then it had like the white, you know, lines around the edge of it. And then I had the shorts to match, and they had like a little pocket right here and a little pocket on my shorts. And so she sent me this thing, okay, which I love. I think this one's bubblegum, yeah. And so she sent me this. Do you guys remember these from back in the day? Oh my God, I used to keep out my little thing in my pocket. Okay, so she sent me this one. This is bubblegum. And then, I've been talking about this recently, she sent me the original, oh my God, the original kissing potion. So, we don't have to worry about this glumping up. But do you guys remember this? I used to put the metal ball and everything. Oh my God, I was so excited about this. Okay. So we're going to just really lube it up today. You know, listen, you can never go wrong with more lube. Okay, so let's talk today. Shall we talk? Okay, let's talk about Nikki Tutorials. Oh my God, it tastes so good. This takes me back. This takes me back to using this back in the day. It even tastes a little vintage. How does something taste vintage? But anyway, okay, so I started getting sent this by numerous people, a TikTok that Nikki Tutorials put out on her Nimya account. Okay, and Nimya is her brand am I pronouncing it right? I know I'm probably not. Is it Nimya? Is it Nimya? I don't know. It's her brand that Nikki Tutorials came out with, okay? So anyway, she comes out with this TikTok, and people are like, is she talking about James Charles? Is she talking about Manny MUA? Is she talking about Laura Lee? Is she talking about Jeffree Star? People are really speculating that she's talking about Jeffree Star and she's talking about James Charles, and she's being rather shady about it. So let's watch the TikTok here. I'm going to show it to you guys, and it's kind of a longer TikTok, so I'm going to show you both parts of it. The second part is really not as relevant, but she kind of gets in some shade at the end of it, so I'm going to show you the whole thing, and then I will respond to it. So here you go.
Let me just repeat that. Do you think some influencers didn't talk about Nimya because they felt the competition? I wish I could say no, but yes, I have felt that. I have sensed that some influencers have completely stopped talking to me ever since starting Nimya, because apparently I didn't promote their brand enough. But it is, in all honesty, a little bit like a game. You know, if I talk about your brand, they will talk about Nimya. It is this like, I help you, you help me. I think it's awesome that when we start our own brands, we support each other. We're in this community together with each other, so let's support each other together. Now I see you ignoring those PR packages. It's fine, it's fine. I will remember. Well, I balanced that by truly surrounding myself with the best people. We're a small team, but we're a good team, honey. The people I work with know exactly what Nimya is at its heart, and they truly understand the language that we speak together. So it's like with a look, we only have to look at each other and it's like, I got you. I got you. And I will say that with any other entrepreneurs out there, it takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of patience and a lot of time. But as long as your heart is in the right place, you've started this company for good reasons, then you will succeed.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Do you know what I should include instead of that? I should include all of my bloopers of me turning the camera off and turning it back on, and then my shitty tripod going sideways and this way and that way and me trying to get it adjusted. I should throw in that. That should have been the TikTok that I showed. But anyway, so people are speculating, you know, let me just tell you, first of all, about my history with Nikki Tutorials through the years of covering her on this drama channel. Nikki Tutorials is somebody that, it's interesting that, like, I mean, people are messaging me and they're like, she's talking about James Charles, she's talking about this. I'm like, she just was in New York like 6 months ago, James Charles going to an escape room. I don't think it's James Charles. She has kind of shown in the last 6 months to a year that she aligns herself greatly with James Charles. Even though people don't really want to act like it still exists, there is still a huge division within the OG beauty influencer world between like Jeffree Star and James Charles, and which side do you align? And the reality is, okay, that Jeffree Star is kind of over here on an island of his own, and then the rest of them are kind of like on James Charles' side, which I think is really, really interesting. I think it goes back to when Manny told me on the phone, if you knew James behind the scenes, you knew he wasn't like that. And I was like, okay, well, what evidence do you have? Because there's factual evidence out there. It's not that, Peter. It's just if you knew him behind the scenes, you would know he's not like that. I'm like, Manny, he is like that. There's evidence, you know? It was interesting because Adam McIntyre is in Los Angeles for his birthday. Happy birthday, Adam. He is out there celebrating his birthday. And I saw on his Instagram story last night that he was like at Sir Restaurant eating, and he was like, just some thoughts about James Charles. And I was just kind of going through it, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. What does he have to say about James Charles? And he talked about what I had just talked about in my video the other day about how James Charles is actually like in Ireland and the UK. And somebody said in here in my video that they hated the way that I was pronouncing Glasgow. I don't know how I pronounce it. I mispronounce everything. I apologize to those people that live in the town that I mispronounce, or the country. Anyway, I am so sorry! Anyway, from all the people from Glasgow, however you pronounce that, I apologize. And I apologize for saying town and country, because I know it's not a country. So I apologize to you guys all from Glasgow. Okay, so anyway, that little piece right there just got 30 comments. I just know it. I can just feel it in my bones and my blood, okay? But anyway, to all of you guys out there in Glasgow, can somebody please let me know in the comment section below how to pronounce it? I actually, you know what? Let's Google it right now. Because I made it 52 years, and somebody said that was probably from there, and I'm like, I mean, people have said for years that I mispronounce Las Vegas. So, oh no, okay, how do Scots say Glasgow? And there's like this thing on there you have to listen to, okay? Should we just listen to it? Okay, let's listen to it. Hold on. Oh wait, I have the volume turned down. Hold on, here we go.
Glasgow.
Glasgow? Glasgow. I guess I should know that because I've watched enough spy movies and stuff that take place there. To all the people in Glasgow, I apologize to you. It's like, oh my God, I did not know. I always thought it was like Auckland, New Zealand, until I watched, what do you call it? The Bachelorette. People keep on asking me what I think about the end of The Bachelorette with Jen. I think it's horrible what happened to her. I think that guy was horrible to her. I can't even remember his name now, but I remember her name. I think that whole ending of The Bachelorette was so sad. But anyway, they don't pronounce it. Now I can't remember. Now I gotta look up how do you pronounce Auckland. It's not Auckland. And so many people from my videos from Auckland, I pronounce everything wrong. Okay, Auckland pronunciation. Oh, here's this lady with her lips again. You can't see it, I know. Let's see it. Oh, I got the volume turned down again.
Auckland.
It says Auckland. Am I pronouncing? How do New Zealanders say Auckland?
Auckland.
Okay, well, she said it some way different on The Bachelorette. Anyway, what was I talking about? Okay, so everybody sent me this video that did we already watch it? We already watched it. Okay, so there's been this division within the OG beauty influencer world that I don't even think people really are that interested in the OG beauty influencers anymore. But I know this video is all over the place. I apologize. I mean, I do kind of, but it's a Peter Monn video. I think we know that by now, right? Okay, so if I'm mispronouncing Glasgow and Auckland, please let me know in the comment section below, and when you know better, you do better. Okay, so I will pronounce it appropriately from now on. I still don't know how I say Vegas wrong. People are like, it's not Vegas. They're like, you're from Indiana, you say Vegas. I don't know how I say it wrong. I don't know what I say wrong. Anyway, I know that I say it wrong, I just don't know how. Las Vegas? It's like me and my friend Tanya Jean. We don't get song lyrics right to save our life. Blinded by the light, had a douche and now I'm ready for a Saturday night. Whenever I sing that song in a video, there's always one serious Betty out there that's like, oh my god, by the way, did you guys know that Dragula started this week? The new season of Dragula? I love it so much. But anyway, there's always one person that's like, Peter, I love you, but actually the lyrics are, and I'm like, you literally just Google the lyrics, okay? I don't think anybody knows what it's like, ride it like a deuce on a Saturday night or something like that, okay? I've looked them up enough. But whenever somebody says that they like literally have the words exactly right, I'm like, it's not like you know that off the top of your head, okay? Nobody knows lyrics like that. Nobody. That's great. It starts with an earthquake, birds and snakes and airplanes. Lenny Bruce's not afraid. Eye of the hurricane, listen to yourself, churn world, check its own knees, comes to be wrong, knees, speed it up and not speed, grunt, no street, no flatter, such a flatter with, here, fight. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Okay, so anyway, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. I do know actually all the lyrics to that song, but that's just what I sing on here. I don't know how I know that from back in the day, I do, but anyway. So let's get into talking about this, because I've tried so many times now. And I know the people that don't like to watch me, they just like to watch for the drama. They're like, you didn't start the drama until 27 minutes! Well, I watched 4 episodes of Unsolved Mysteries last night, and they never got to the part of the show, okay? So I watched 50 minutes, and they never got to anything. I didn't find out anything new about Roswell, New Mexico that I didn't know before watching it last night. So, okay, let's talk about this. So there's been this big divide, right, within the OG beauty influencer space for quite some time. And it's kind of like you either stand on the side of Jeffree Star or you stand on the side of James Charles. It's interesting to me that Jeffree Star says that James Charles and Toddy Westbrook have ruined the beauty influencer space, because really what it was, and if you go back in time and you watch, it was really Jeffree Star and James Charles that ruined the beauty influencer space. Toddy Westbrook was part of it at the time because she came out with the videos about James Charles, but she's since removed herself from that. Toddy Westbrook's not really in it today at all. I mean, she don't talk to them about them. She don't really want to have anything to do with them, none of that kind of stuff. But at that time before that was when we were making videos on drama channels. I mean, people say that nobody was covering the drama, but I think there were 6 or 7 of us out there that were covering drama videos daily and getting quite a few views, actually, off videos where it would be like, James Charles just, like, passed Jeffree Star in views. We were doing those videos, like, every single day. And so there was this huge thing where it was like, James Charles went over Jeffree Star went over James Charles went over, I mean, it was like, every day they would gain, like, 100,000 to 1 million subscribers. It's crazy. I remember those days covering it back then, right? It was like 2016, 2017 time. And so I think that Jeffree Star, and having talked to him in the past and also seeing his behavior, I think that he is somebody that has a really difficult time existing in a world where he's not at the top. And I'm just going to be very, very objective about this. I think you guys know that I have a lot of issues with both Jeffree Star and James Charles, okay? And some of those issues might come out today. But I'm just right now talking about the competition factor. I think that in their mindset of how they look at the world of the beauty influencer space, I think Jeffree Star has always had a problem not being at the top. Like, he has to be at the top, always, right? I think James Charles is delusional enough to just think that he always is at the top. That's the difference, okay? He doesn't feel like he needs to rely on other people. He doesn't feel like he needs to do favors for other people because he always just thinks he is at the top, okay? He just kind of thinks he is the shit. James Charles always has kind of thought that way. I mean, he stepped into the space kind of thinking that he was the shit. That's just the truth if you go back in time and you watch it. Jeffree Star, not so much. Jeffree Star says all these friends used him. I actually think it was kind of a very parasitic relationship. I think that he used a lot of them to help build his career too. There were a lot of people that were watching Manny MUA, Laura Lee, Toddy Westbrook that weren't watching Jeffree Star. You know, it's the model that Shane Dawson did very smartly through the years, where he would collab with people that nobody knew, and then he would cross-pollinate his audience. It's really not just Shane Dawson. A lot of people did it. It's really old school, back in the day YouTube, where they would do collaborations, and it's like you take two completely different people and you cross-pollinate. So when Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star got together, it was really, in all honesty, the cross-pollination of what we had ever seen on YouTube. I mean, people have been doing that for years. It's how they built channels. Collabs back in the day were very, very common on YouTube. People don't really do them as much anymore, but it was very, very common. In fact, when I started on YouTube, people would be like, are you going to collab with somebody? Who are you going to collab with? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, that was what we all talked about behind the scenes, because that was like, you've made it if you're collabing with people kind of thing, right? And so that was kind of a lot of talk behind the scenes, but that was like, I remember watching people and I'd be like, whatever. So, you know, in retrospect, when you look at the Shane Dawson, I mean, I don't even know if this occurred to me until right now, but when you look at that Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson crossover, okay, not to mention that they fed it to the world that they were like best friends. They don't ever talk. They don't ever interact today. We don't ever see any of that. I don't know about you guys, but I have a best friend and I talk to her on the daily, okay? Even when we're not in the same city, even when our lives are busy, we text each other, we call each other. Jeffree and Shane hardly ever mention each other. Ever. They hardly ever do. Unless it benefits them in some way financially. So that was really kind of like the crossover collab, and I think that's why so many people got excited about it, because, you know, Jeffree Star's audience and Shane Dawson's audience, which were both huge at that time, collided together, and then you had this huge explosion of these two huge populations of audiences online, and people loved it. They absolutely loved it. It was smart. It was really smart for them to do that collaboration together. So when you watch that series with Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson, and why I call it a cash grab, because it really was about the money. If you watched the previous one before that, it was like, Ryland's like, how much money can we make off of that? How many pairs of Gucci slides can I have? I don't hate him for wanting to have a lot of money, okay? Well, that's just factual that happened, right? Do I think that it was a lot about the money? I think absolutely it was a lot about the money. More power to them. I hope they made $100 million off that thing. Not 100, they don't think they made, but I think they probably made each of them close to 10 to 20 million off of that pallet sale and everything, the merch and everything that went along with it. And hey, good for them, you know, good for them. But it was a smart thing to do. And if, in all honesty, if I were out with them, I wouldn't have said, oh yeah, this is all for, we're doing this all for the money. Because if they said that, they wouldn't have sold as much, right? Okay. We're in kind of a little different world today, you know, than we were back when they made that video. But that was what it was. It was literally the ultimate collab to sell a palette. It was very smart. It was a very smart move because they were at the time, both of them, at the very top of their games. So it was a smart move. But after that, you know, with the downfall of the drama and Toddy Westbrook and the allegations against James Charles, it really split the thing. It was easy for Jeffree Star to say, well, the audience, or the beauty influencer was ruined by James Charles and Toddy Westbrook because Jeffree Star won't take any accountability whatsoever. But really, it started long before Toddy Westbrook ever entered the scene. It really started long before Shane Dawson ever entered the scene. It started with Jeffree Star and James Charles kind of trying to constantly one-up each other and have the biggest numbers. That competition led to Jeffree Star having to be at the top. I don't really think that James Charles, to be honest with you, he doesn't ever do favors for anybody. He hardly ever does any reviews of any of his friends' makeup, period. End of story. I don't know why. I don't know if James, I mean, people for years have always thought Jeffree Star has things on people. I don't know that James Charles doesn't have things on people. I'll be honest with you. I mean, the times I've talked to him in the past, back in the day, he didn't seem that bright to me. I mean, he didn't seem stupid. I mean, I've seen him with that, like, pad of paper with Toddy Westbrook where he's talking about why they should hire him, and that seemed brilliant to me. Like, he got it. But he didn't seem like that, like, he didn't seem stupid to me, but he didn't seem like calculating and conniving and all that kind of stuff. That's why I think he doesn't really know how to handle a lot of these situations he gets into, because he thinks he's smarter than he is. But I don't think that he's really, like, I don't think any of his friends have ever felt, I mean, that whole world is very competitive. I've heard that from all of them at each time that I've talked to them. That whole world, they've all said is like, oh my God, you're constantly watching over your back because you don't know who's going to come. You know, it's interesting because on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, which is so good this season, Meredith Marks is so pissed at Whitney Rose for coming up with these bath bombs because Meredith Marks is known for always being in the bathtub. And she's like, that's my thing, and you're coming up with bath bombs. And it's ridiculous, right? But for years, that's kind of been the whole deal with the beauty influencer space. If it's like somebody comes out with this and the other person can't. Jeffree Star's always somebody that keeps the tabs on that, right? So it's interesting to me that this whole, like, where the sighting goes. So people are speculating that this TikTok comes out, right? And they're like, is it Manny that she's talking about? No, I don't think she really cares that much. I don't think Nikki Tutorials thinks that Manny MUA is going to pull her that many sales. And I'll tell you what if I were a beauty influencer of their level, would do today, because they don't, any of them do it. But this is what I would do. I'll tell you in a second. Well, I'll tell you right now, okay? It's interesting because she says at the end of it, she says, sent the PR package, I see it sitting over there unopened or whatever, however she says it. The world that we live in today, nobody's watching that much these big influencers. And if people are watching them, they're watching them because they've been long-term fans of them for years and years and years, okay? They're not really watching them for the makeup. It's why their stuff isn't really selling that well anymore, because we're talking about diehard fans. So if those diehard fans don't have the money or won't buy the products that favorite influencer of theirs putting out, you think they're going to buy a product from somebody that they do a review on? Probably not. That world's kind of over. But there are a lot of beauty influencers on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram that disclose appropriately, give very honest reviews, okay? And they might have 10,000 to 100,000 followers. And they have a very dedicated fan base and audience that really respects them. Micro influencers is a new thing today that people take very seriously. Micro influencers, we're talking like 1,000 to 10 to 20,000 followers on Instagram, 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, are probably more reached out to than the bigger people. Because I think what they realize is they have a more dedicated audience that's really listening to what they're saying, because they're not at the mark where they're making $1 million a year and they're having to maneuver and play companies against each other, because if I say something bad about e.l.f. Cosmetics, then MAC will get pissed at me, and if I say something positive about MAC, then e.l.f., they don't have to play that game. So they're real honest with their audience, and people love them and they respect them. If I were Nikki Tutorials, what I would do is I'd come out and say, I want to send my PR package to a lot of beauty influencers that I don't know, that are smaller creators that you guys love. Sound off in the comment section. Give me 100 names and I will send those creators my PR package. She's wasting her money sending those PR packages to James Charles, who's never going to cover it. Or if he has, I'll probably eat my words. People will be like, oh, we already covered it. Okay. Nobody's going to buy it from James Charles. They don't even buy his own products, and all this kind of stuff. That's what she should do if she were smart. It's interesting because Marlene Estelle came out years ago and she said, I don't have the money to compete with these people that are paying upwards of $100,000 to $250,000 for sponsorships. And people are like, that's not true. They're not paying that. Well, James Charles had come out and already said that was true, that they were getting paid that much amount of money. Now we have shows like the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, where we know that Whitney Levitt is being paid for $20,000 to hold up a sex toy in an Instagram post. She got paid $20,000 for one picture on an Instagram post. And she doesn't nearly have the following that some of these people have, okay? And it was non-disclosed, by the way. She didn't disclose that. I did a whole video about it. So anyway, and the CEO signed off on it, and the company did in the comment section, so they could be fined for that too. But anyway, so she's being paid $20,000 for a product. And what the big issue was, that I didn't even say in that video, was that she never used that product. She made that very clear. All the women on the show that were like, I do it for $50,000 or $100,000. So they're getting paid. If they're saying that, then what that's saying is they're getting paid $50,000 to $100,000, okay? So those numbers are not outside of the realm. Well, there's a lot of smaller influencers. Marlene Estelle said she couldn't pay those people. I would have turned around and sent it to 100 people for that. Some of them would accept the PR package for free or wouldn't want to be paid to have to do a review. Then you also are building dedicated following as well, because those are people that love makeup to this day. They love skincare. You're building like a relationship with people that still really love this, instead of pandering to this fandom that isn't buying products and doesn't really care anyway. But people are speculating who it is. Now, I went in and I looked at the brand on Instagram, and the brand only follows one person, which is Nikki Tutorials, because it's her brand. But I went and looked at Nikki Tutorials. She still follows Jeffree Star. She still follows, you know what I didn't look, is I didn't look to see if she follows Jaclyn Hill. Let me look in here really quick to see if she follows Jaclyn Hill really quick. Let me pull her up. Where's she at? Nikki Tutorials. She's the one person that I didn't look to see if she follows Jaclyn Hill. Oh, she doesn't follow Jaclyn Hill. What's the tea with that? Because what's interesting is when you look through, she follows Jeffree Star. She follows James Charles. Oh, this is interesting. She follows James Charles. She follows Manny MUA. She follows Laura Lee. She followed Patrick Star. Let's look. Patrick Star. She follows Patrick Star. I don't think she ever followed Toddy Westbrook. She followed Toddy. She doesn't follow Toddy. So she doesn't follow Toddy, and she doesn't follow, Jaclyn Hill. Does Jaclyn Hill follow her? Oh, this is interesting. Y'all are getting to see some of me doing the drama investigations right here. Why does Jaclyn Cosmetics still have an account? What does it say on here? Jaclyn Cosmetics. Girl, why are we still up when your last thing is the closing of it? Where is Jaclyn's account? Jaclyn Hill. Here it is, Jaclyn. Hi, Jaclyn. Does she follow Nikki Tutorials? Maybe she does follow Jaclyn Hill. Hold on a second. Jaclyn Hill. Oh, she does follow Jaclyn Hill. I was spelling it wrong. How could I spell it wrong after all these years? Okay, so they still follow each other. Does Nikki still really not follow Toddy Westbrook? She doesn't. So the only person that she doesn't follow, does Toddy Westbrook follow her? This is getting exciting. It's getting so exciting. Glam Life Guru. Does she follow Nikki Tutorials? She does. So Toddy Westbrook follows Nikki Tutorials, but Nikki Tutorials doesn't follow Toddy Westbrook. Or maybe it's because I didn't put Glam Life Guru in there. That can't be it. Nikki Tutorials. This is how, like, I work behind the scenes. Okay, Nikki Tutorials. Glam Life Guru. No, she doesn't follow Toddy, but Toddy follows her. So the only person she doesn't follow is Toddy. But people are speculating that, and Toddy does a lot of reviews. That actually could fit. Then what would be Toddy's issue with Nikki Tutorials, though? Well, why would Nikki Tutorials not follow her, but she would follow her? Can somebody please work this out for me? Because this is confusion. But what's interesting to me about this is that when I went over and I looked at Jeffree Star's, this is why people are speculating that she's talking about Jeffree Star. Because she used to be close with Jeffree Star a long time ago. But we haven't seen anything from her and Jeffree Star or her talk about him in quite some time. Okay, oh wait, I went into her account. But when you go to Jeffree Star's account, Jeffree Star has just done this review of Patrick Star. And it says on here, is the viral turn up the base foundation by One Size Jeffree Star approved? And this is Patrick Star's new, what do you call it? So he does the whole thing on there. Now, I will tell you, I watched the whole thing. He gives a very positive review of it. And talks about it hours after he shows it. It's like one of his old school reviews where he goes in there and he shows the foundation in the sun and all this kind of stuff. He's hoping for a Wyoming winter soon and all this kind of stuff. What's interesting to me about this is that, and he says in there at the beginning, he goes, I didn't receive the PR, obviously, I'm not on the list. Basically, like he and Patrick Star don't get along. No shit, you talked mad shit about Patrick Star to me back in the day. Jeffree Star talked such mad shit about Patrick Star. He talked about how he was jealous of him. He would say things like, why do you think he picked his last name Star and just added some R's to it? He said that to me. I think I actually might have that in text messages. He said that to me on the phone. Either on the phone or he said it to me in text messages and I have proof. But he said to me, like, why would he make his last name Star? He's so jealous of me. Like, and then when the falling out happened between Manny and Jeffree and whatever, and he's like, Manny can just go back and run to Patrick Star. He'll never do anything for him. I mean, he has always been bitter about Patrick Star. I'm done. I don't care. I'm going to share everything that I know. So the fact that he's now doing a review of Patrick Star but hasn't done a review of Nikki Tutorials, and they used to be good GDs back in the day. Oh, girl. Okay. Now I understand why people think it's you. If people were speculating that it's James Charles, that wouldn't really surprise me. James Charles really doesn't review any of his friends' makeup. They'll bend over backwards. Manny did a review of the original Painted, whatever those were, the tubes of paint, and then people called him out for it, the brown color or whatever, and he came out and this is the only time I've ever seen Manny ever do this. Turned around on TikTok and made a follow-up TikTok about his previous TikTok in defense of James Charles. That's how dedicated they are to James Charles. It makes me wonder, like, what does James Charles have on all these people? I mean, what's going on? I'm confused about this. But people are speculating, like, who she's talking about in this. She's obviously, if she's putting it out there, it's not just somebody random that we don't know. It is somebody that she wants people to get talking about it. Do I think this might bring some drama? And that people will start talking about Nikki Tutorials and they're not really focusing on her brand, and it might bring some, it's kind of old school drama that might bring some attention to it. Yeah, I think that might not be that's not a stupid idea. And when people don't do that, you guys, like, I don't know if you really know that that's like kind of a marketing tactic to stir that kind of stuff up. I mean, There's an entire show called Only Murders in the Building, and this season is dedicated to them trying to hype up this movie that they're making about the podcast, and so they're speculating that another murder happens just so they can hype up the movie being made. Yes, that absolutely happens. That's like story old as time, you know, that you hype up some story and it's a marketing tactic. Could she be putting this out there to hype up drama to get people to go look at her brand? Maybe. It wouldn't fit what Nikki Tutorials usually does, but if her brand isn't getting a lot of attention and she throws out some shade, that's pretty simple. It's not like she said anything bad in there. She just said, I sent somebody PR and they didn't review it. I see you over there and I'll remember that, you know? And Nikki Tutorials is somebody that has had a lot of opportunities because she has stayed very professional in her career. I'll be honest with you, and this is what I was going to say at the beginning of the video. Nikki Tutorials is somebody that I've really liked for a very long time. I do not understand her allegiance to James Charles. And I'll tell you why I don't understand her allegiance to James Charles. I mean, she just was at an escape room. They both took pictures and posted on their Instagram. That was like 6 or 8 months ago, right? What I don't understand about that is that Nikki Tutorials is somebody, and I remember because I covered this in my early days of drama, she was doing this trending thing that was where you like did like an eyeliner and you painted like a penis. She did a whole video about it, okay? And you painted a penis over there. And she was talking about these were like trending things or stupid. It's like a video was about like stupid trending things or something that people were doing. And at that time, people were doing like eyeliner penises off the side of her eye. Well, she got called out because people were saying, you're like a more like Family Channel. There's a lot of kids that watch your videos. She took the video down, okay? So you took a video down because people were calling you out for painting a penis on your eye with eyeliner. That's fact. That happened, okay? I covered it on this channel years ago. So you took a video down because people were calling you out, but you have no problem hanging out with a self-proclaimed predator. Oh, this is what I was going to say about Adam McIntyre. Happy birthday again, Adam. But Adam was sitting in a restaurant, and he was like talking about, I forgot to get back to this, but he was saying, you know, I'm like baffled that he said, I have a lot of people on my timeline that are like excited to go and this meet and greet with James Charles. And I said in my video the other day covering it, I said, I think James Charles will sell out did sell out these meet and greets. And I do think a lot of people will show up to meet him. And Adam was like mystified. He was like, I have a lot of people on my timeline that are excited about going to meet James Charles. He's like, I'm baffled by this. I don't remember exactly how he said it. He's just sitting there in the restaurant at Sir. And he's like, I'm baffled by this. James Charles is somebody that came out in a video and said that we at least know he has 2 victims that were minors, took responsibility for it, then took that video down. He is a self-proclaimed predator. So people want to go to this meet and greet with him. Companies stand behind him. James Charles is maybe the one most baffling thing that I've ever covered on here that I am so confused about. I mean, in LA, he would literally be blacklisted. He would never work on film or television again, period, end of story. But he has lifted up and all these people around him. I don't know, maybe James Charles, maybe he's not maybe he's smarter than I gave him credit for. Maybe he's got shit on all of these people. Maybe he has shit on every single one of them. I don't know. Because there's some reason why they are so allegiant to him. Unless their allegiance is just out of bitterness to Jeffree Star. And maybe that's what it is. You know, that misery joins company. Or like, you know, whatever the saying is. Maybe that's just why they hang out together. So I don't really understand why their allegiance is to James Charles. But that was when I was kind of like, I'm done with Nikki Tutorials. Okay, great. Host all these shows in Europe. I'm glad your channel's doing great for you. I'm sorry that you got blackmailed. You know, all that kind of stuff. But you know what? You want to continue to support this person? I'm out. Like, I can't with that, right? And he won't even address it today and keeps on acting like it never happened and that he's the victim. And you stand by that? And you took out a video over a penis eyeliner thing on your eye that you did the tutorial about it? No, I can't. I don't understand that. And you came out and addressed it and talked about why you took that video down, but you won't come out and address why you hang out with James Charles. And not that you have to. You don't have to address it at all. The fact that you just do. Okay, that's one, and I'm just explaining to you guys, I'm not demanding anything, I'm not saying that she has to, I'm just telling you, that's why I'm out. That's why I no longer watch her or anything like that. I thought she was one of the most unproblematic people for a long time. And I still think she is, except for that piece. I don't understand why I would like somebody in the industry to explain to me either what James Charles has in all these people or why they continue to stand by him, why they can overlook these allegations. It's baffling to me. I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. it's like the one thing I would the one thing I would like to have explained to me. This battery's going to stop in just a second, so hold on a second. And the last thing I want to say about this I thought was kind of interesting is that when I was watching a TikTok originally, and I know that when I say this, people are going to be like, no, it's not really the same thing. Okay, Tati Westbrook comes out years ago, okay, and complains about the fact that James Charles wouldn't cover, wouldn't do support her brand at that time. But to get to Coachella, took a sponsorship with a competitor of Sugar Bear Hair, okay? And Sugar Bear Hair paid for his protection or his bodyguards or whatever and passes to Coachella. That's why he did the Sugar Bear Hair brand. That was the initial thing that really pissed her off. She came out and talked about it, okay? But flash all these years later, and she took a lot of crap for that. People are like, the only reason, to this day, people swear that the only reason that Tati Westbrook ever spoke out about James Charles was because of the Sugar Bear Hair thing. That the only reason that she ever said anything was because she was so pissed that he wouldn't support her brand, but he would support Sugar Bear Hair for VIP passes to Coachella. Okay, flash 5 years down the road, we have Nikki Tutorials in a TikTok where people are trying to figure out who she's shading, and she's in there saying, basically saying, okay, you don't want to review my shit? I'll remember that. She says that. I'll remember that. I'll remember that. Is she going to get the same backlash that Tati Westbrook got? If she ever comes out and says anything about any of these people? Because Tati Westbrook has taken a lot of shit for years from people saying the only reason she ever spoke out. No, I don't think Tati Westbrook thought 3 steps ahead. You know, I mean, she probably just isn't 2 steps ahead like Nick Avocado. I mean, she didn't think 3 steps ahead. I don't think she thought when she came out and made this video that she was being manipulated by Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star, and this thing would be like career ruining and she'd be dealing with it 5 years later. I don't think she ever thought that. I think she thought she'd come out, Jeffree and Shane would support her, the whole internet would believe her, and James Charles would fade off. I think that's what she thought, but that's not what happened. But here we are 5 years later, and Nikki Tutorials is pissed off because somebody didn't review her makeup from a PR package, and she's not going to forget about that. She'll remember it, right? Well, I hope her people remember that, because when Tati Westbrook came out and said, I mean, this was the person that she asked to do her makeup at her wedding, not just a friend in the community. This was somebody, I mean, that did her makeup for her at her wedding. This was somebody that she and her husband had helped with their career. That she looked at James Charles as like she had been a mentor to him, all right? Not just somebody that she sent a PR box to. But Nikki Tutorials, it's okay for her to get all upset about being a whatever, you know? I mean, this goes so deep when you look at this stuff for years and years and years. It's just, it's interesting and it's baffling to me. But anyway, I got shows to watch, so go over and hang out with me over my Peter Watches TV channel. I love you guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.